Welcome, everyone. My name is Rich Shortall. I'm the Executive Officer for Fire Safe Marin. At this time of the year, we give an opportunity for representatives from each of the 5 major zones of the Marin Wildfire Prevention Authority to come on and talk about the projects that they've been doing in their areas. So today we're very excited to have Sarah Labberton, who's the Senior Vegetation Management Specialist, correct on that, for the Novato Fire Department. She's going to tell us just a little bit about herself and her duties, and then she's going to tell us what the Novato Fire Department's been up to. Sarah, welcome.
Thank you very much. So I will share my screen and start the presentation. So as Rich was saying, my name is Sarah Labberton, the new Senior Vegetation Management Specialist for Novato Fire. And today I'm just going to share a brief presentation highlighting the projects that we have worked on this last year. I'd like to add a bit of context first before diving into the details of the projects. In 2020, as many of you know, Measure C parcel tax was adopted and created the Marin Wildfire Prevention Authority, a joint powers agreement that includes 17 member agencies in Marin County. Marin Wildfire Prevention Authority, or MWPA, combined the 17 agencies into 5 zones. The Novato zone is different than the others because we are a single agency managing this zone. Novato Fire District includes not only the city of Novato, but also the surrounding unincorporated areas. Novato Fire covers from just west of Stafford Lake, east to the bay, and then down at Big Rock Ridge, all the way north to the county line. A majority of our effort is spent maintaining fuel breaks and evacuation routes. We manage multiple fuel breaks around neighborhoods that are just adjacent to city open spaces or HOA-owned open spaces. We also maintain primary and secondary evacuation routes throughout the district. For all of the projects, removing broom is one of our main goals. French broom, pictured here, burns easily and can carry thousands of seeds. Each plant releases thousands of seeds. The seeds are known to live in the soil for up to 5 years. It's one of the main ladder fuels in our habitats surrounding Novato, and it grows rapidly and creates large, dense populations. Broom management is an annual exercise. We want these fuel breaks and evacuation routes to be permanent infrastructures, and so the maintenance is very important. The photo on the left shows a pile of broom that was pulled, and the photo on the right shows an area that was just treated by our contractors earlier this winter season, and you can see this same season, hundreds of broom seedlings are already growing where the mature stand used to be. So it's a long process to slowly chip away at that seed bank. Another project implemented this fiscal year is the Valley Memorial Park Eucalyptus Removal and Habitat Restoration Project. This slide shows a flyer that was given to the nearby communities. 1.4 acres of dense eucalyptus was removed from the north end of Valley Memorial Park. The Habitat Restoration Plan aims to create a native creekside woodland or establish a native creekside woodland. Once we removed some of those eucalyptus, we were able to see some oaks were struggling under those eucalyptus, and a creek runs right through that site. So environmental compliance for this project included an additional lake and stream bed alteration agreement with California Department of Fish and Wildlife. So we have specific measures and requirements on top of the standard MWPA requirements that for all of the work and revegetation that happens on the site. This is what it looked like before tree removal, very dense stand. And this is what the site looked like after the tree removal and the first planting. The Habitat Restoration Plan includes 11 protected planting areas. We have 5 riparian habitat areas, 3 transitional areas, and 3 upland habitat areas. Willow stakes were also planted along the creek. We've just been back a couple of weeks ago, and the plants are looking pretty good in most of the planting areas. We did get more water in that section than we thought we were going to with this super wet year. So we will have to plant more plants this fall, just to make sure we're hitting that plant cover for the CDFW Lake and Stream Bed Alteration Agreement. So we will be monitoring the restoration site for the next 5 years. We also built a demonstration garden at Station 63 on San Ramon Way. The design was created by April Owens with the Habitat Corridor Project, and the landscape showcases a firewise garden that keeps water on site and hosts pollinators such as bees and butterflies. As you can see, the plan is separated into a variety of habitats, so residents can walk through and see what may fit into their backyard or front yard. This plant list shows the variety of plants in each habitat. We have the oak understory habitat, bee and butterfly meadow, drought-tolerant shrubs, firewise island planting, ground covers for marin, riparian and native plants in a swale, and succulents. We've also embarked on the planning and compliance process for our largest fuel break, the Greater Novato Shaded Fuel Break. This project will build a continuous band around the community of Novato, as you can see in the red on the left. This fuel break will provide a safer space for firefighters to defend the neighborhoods from wildfire by removing the fine and fast-burning fuels and the ladder fuels within this project area. Another goal of this project is to restore the treated areas to a more natural, healthy, and fire-adapted condition. The entire fuel break is about 60 miles long and 300 feet wide. It also includes different WUI areas, which are the yellow areas in the map. And this fuel break will go through public and private properties. The environmental compliance evaluated the full 300-foot wide band, and this planning and compliance effort culminated in a project-specific analysis that's over 500 pages. That document can be found on the project page in the MWPA website. In that document, multiple vegetation treatment methods were evaluated, including grazing, ground-based mechanical treatment, prescribed burns, herbicide, and hand thinning. Most of the project will be treated with hand thinning, and that's when we have contractors on the ground removing native plants and dead and down non-native plants and dead and down trees and branches with hand tools, chainsaws, broom removers. We have that document also evaluated all biological resources and cultural resources that may be found in the project area. There was a lot of effort went into that project and into that document. Implementation has begun this spring with rare plant surveys and cultural surveys that have to happen before any contractors are on the ground. We hope to start the implementation of the project on August 1st, after nesting bird season. In addition to all of the vegetation work, Novato Fire District provides grants to private property owners and HOAs. We have 3 different grant programs that are all matching grants. Our home hardening grant program covers any work on the home when you're switching anything from a non-compliant product to a WUI compliant product. So upgrading single pane or double pane windows to a double pane tempered glass, adding gutter guards, adding vent screens, or replacing all wooden shingles on the structure. With that grant program, a matching grant will be equal to half of the money spent on a project up to $2,500. So if a resident spends $5,000 on a project, they will receive $2,500. If they spend more than $5,000, they'll receive $2,500. But if they spend only $4,000, they'll receive $2,000. This year, residents in Novato spent $2.7 million on home hardening projects in the community. and we awarded $600,000 in grants on home hardening projects. The second program is the Vegetation Management Grant Program. This covers all vegetation treatments or projects within somebody's property. So removing trees, removing juniper, mowing grass, and so on. The Vegetation Management Grant is also a matching grant equal to half of the money spent on a project, up to $1,000. Novato has the house out approach. So we want to incentivize the home hardening first, and then slowly work our way out to the through the yard. So if a resident spends $2,000 or more on a vegetation management project, they will receive $1,000 back. This year, we had residents spent $956,000 on vegetation management on their property, and we awarded $323,000 of grant dollars. Our third program is the HOA Vegetation Management Grant Program. This is only for HOAs, and it is very similar to the Vegetation Management Program. It only includes the vegetation management in the common areas of an HOA. This program has a matching grant of up to $1,500. It's usually used for grass maintenance through HOAs. And this year, HOAs spent $186,000 on vegetation maintenance in their communities, and we awarded almost $30,000 grant dollars. Which for the whole year, residents in Novato spent over $3.8 million on home hardening projects and vegetation management projects, and we awarded $953,000 of grant dollars, which is a 4-to-1 ratio, which we're very proud of. And that's 729 grants distributed total. We always like to end our presentations with cute goat photos. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Sarah. That was great. And ending with the goats. Who doesn't love that? Everybody loves the goats. They're so cute. And they do such a good job. They're wonderful.
Yes, yes.
So just a couple of follow-ups. It's really exciting when we hear about the vegetation management projects. We rarely hear about the replanting. So can you talk a little bit more about that? I thought that was kind of exciting.
Yeah, so it's right now our only restoration project at the moment, but we are within that 1.4 acres site. We have to have a certain amount of % cover of native plants by the end of the 5 years. So according to stay in compliance with that lake and stream bed alteration agreement, we have specific parameters that we have to meet. And it's been really fun to go look at the plants. There's so little right now. And restoration can always be interesting because it doesn't look so great afterward, right as you've started planting, but to watch it grow, watch those plants grow. We're filling in with native oak trees and the willows, and we have some poplars, but yeah, it's very exciting.
That's great. The Station 63 demo garden, is that complete or is that proposed?
Yes, all of the plants have been planted. It was completed this spring. The signs have not gone up yet, but they will be coming shortly. So we'll have the signage up for the different species that were planted, as well as the cost of some of the habitat and mulch things, so that residents can come through and kind of see what will match their budget, what will match their habitat. It'll be nice.
Well, that's great. One thing for residents to think about is take a look early and then take a look a year or two later, because it's a big difference. And it's kind of an experience when you redo your own yard. It looks a little sparse sometimes at the beginning, but once everything matures, it's really spectacular. So this is a great opportunity for people to see that. And I've seen April Owen's work. She does a really nice job with designs. It looks really good. That's super. Very excited about the big fuel break. I was trying to orient myself on the map a little bit. How close is most of the work to homes?
So the project area goes right up to the structure out 300 feet. That was part of the compliance for the 300 feet. Work will only occur at the end of the landscaping into the open space. So the work won't happen right up against your yard if there's landscaping. If you don't have any landscaping and no fence, then we may help remove some down trees or pull broom right outside the house. But the majority of the work will happen outside of the landscaping into the open space.
Well, I think for residents, it's noting that's really the way to do this. You're going to see the work, which is great. This is not out in the hinterland somewhere. And it is designed, and you can think about it, you're still going to have a beautiful landscape there. But with that kind of work, you're really going to slow down the spread of fire. It's not designed to completely stop it perfectly, but it really makes a big difference. And that's going right up to your property. So now it's up to you to maintain your property for that last gap between that fuel break and your house. So put it all together. The level of protection is great, and it's just really exciting project to see that done. And how is that funded?
So it's funded by MWPA. We have in the new work plan about $500,000 designated for it. We're still hoping for a few grants to come through, but we are starting with that MWPA fund, and we'll see how far we can get with that.
Yeah, I think for the audience, I know that you're working on a really big CAL FIRE grant, and we're all very optimistic that that'll come. Yeah. But it also it's this leveraging of funding, which is really great. So you've got the MWPA, you can get the work started, and that actually helps to secure grants because they know that that there's a plan in place and all the compliance work is done and whatnot. So
yeah, exactly.
It's great. So speaking of grants, the grant program is very exciting that you have. Once again, leveraging, I think pay attention to the number, how much was funded directly from grants, but then how much was actually accomplished when you look at the total amount of investment in it. And that's where grants are really effective.
Yeah, it really incentivized the community to put in the work and put in the effort, and it has really paid off.
Yeah. Can residents of Novato also apply for MWPA grants? Because I believe these are all Novato managed grants.
Yeah, so those are just Novato managed grants. I believe for this last fiscal year, you could. The rules may be changing starting July 1st, so I don't know how that is going to be moving forward, but that would be a question for Yvette. I can ask her.
No, that's a good answer because actually I just started looking at some of the changes, and that's common. Every year they change a little bit. So I even have to go back and kind of brush up on exactly how that works. But I think there's reason for optimism that the two would go together. So anybody who's thinking about doing this work, take a look at both, but start with the Novato Fire Department. And I believe the first step in getting a grant in Novato is to have the Novato Fire Department come out and do a home evaluation. Maybe you can talk about that.
Sure. So we have 5 wildfire mitigation specialists that staff position is funded through Marin Wildfire Prevention Authority. And they go out, we have a very educational approach. They go out, first they just do a roadside, they look at, they don't go in anybody's property, but then they'll send letters saying, hey, there's a tree, or to specific neighbors or property owners. And if they get a call back and they're invited to come do a home assessment, then the WIMS will go out, do the home assessment, and then that property owner is eligible for a grant. So you have to get the home assessment before you can get a grant, but it's all only if you're invited in, and very educational.
you'll get a lot out of the home assessment. I can promise you on that. Yeah, it's good. You'll know that the work that's being done is worthwhile. So really, I think my last question, Chief Tyler, who's the chief of the Novato Fire Department, introduced to me this adapt to wildfire house out approach. Do you want to elaborate on that a little bit? What does that mean?
Sure. So the house out approach is just emphasizing that you have to start with the house, home hardening, making sure that any embers that are coming your way that land in your property don't catch your house on fire. So that's what the home hardening, changing things to WUI compliant products is a good way to start on that. And then there's different zones, that 0 to 5 foot zone. You don't want any vegetation right up against your house. Then it's the 5 to 30 foot zone, and then up to 100 feet zone. You want 100 feet of defensible space around your house. And that's where you're making sure you don't have ladder fuels going into the canopy or anything that can lead. If an ember falls, it's leading to your house or from your house out, so to your neighbors. So it's just starting with the house and then working your way out.
That's a great summary of the Fire Safe Marin's messaging. We're all about that. So we're very much in alignment on that. A little thing I have to say, the most common email or question that comes to Fire Safe Marin is always this one: my neighbor's tree. My neighbor's tree is going to burn my house down. If you take the house approach, what you really want to do is start at your home and take a look at that. Is the home properly protected with vents and the proper windows and gutter screens and all that, so the embers can't get into the house? That first 5 feet, we're all focused on now. We call that zone 0 now. You don't want anything flammable right there. And I guarantee if you do good work in that area, chances are pretty good that your neighbor's tree is actually not going to create a problem for you. So
right. So, and yeah. Yes, I agree. And if you're participating in the grant program, then you can share that with your neighbors and try to make a fire safe community, fire adapted community.
Love that. Share these programs, share these tips, talk to each other over the fence, and everybody chips in on this. Great. Well, again, wonderful work by Novato Fire Department. Sarah, fantastic presentation. Much thanks to the Marin Wildfire Prevention Authority, who has made so much of this work possible with their funding. We really all do appreciate that. And if there are any questions, what's the best way for the public to follow up with the Novato Fire Department? Sure.
We have a vegetation management email. It's vegmgt@novatofire.org. And all three of us, we have a team of 3 now. So all 3 of us will be able to interact with you and answer any questions that may come up.
Great. Take advantage of that and get a home evaluation scheduled.
Yes.
Get on the grant program, make your house safe, get your neighbors involved. We'll all be better off for it. All right, Sarah, thank you so much. Anything that you want to add here at the end here?
No, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate getting the word out and talking to your neighbors and creating a firewise community.
Wonderful. Thanks very much. Appreciate it. You take care now. All right. Goodbye, everybody.